This segment is sponsored by Home Care Assistance. During this pandemic, you may have your thoughts focused on loved ones and especially elderly family members. So how do you care for older loved ones in this time of COVID-19? Well, Lori Wengert, owner and president of Home Care Assistance, may have some answers for you this morning. Good to have you, Lori.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, so how have you seen from your perspective COVID impact the elder care industry?
Oh boy, well, it is no secret to anyone that the older adults have been and continue to be the most vulnerable population when it comes to this virus. So it's changed our world in such a major way. And I guess for starters, it's like we are now incredibly responsible for people's lives been in the past. Those who live in community settings are obviously seeing the bearing the brunt of the pandemic because they are in a concentrated location. But we haven't seen quite as much in home care because we do care for our clients one-on-one. So it does eliminate some of the fear that we would normally see, just by being in a congregate setting.
And what changes have you had to make in that personal one-on-one care to make people safe?
Yeah, I'll tell you, at the beginning, it was a real wake-up call for all of us that we had to become experts quickly. And so we started out by just communicating a lot with our employees and with our clients. So it took a lot of time to really reassure people, to let them know that we were going to base our philosophy on facts and not fears. So we spent a lot of time doing research. We named a subject matter expert right here in our own company, and she was responsible for keeping on top of what was going on with the pandemic.
Wow.
Using all of the best resources that were out there, the CDC and the state of Ohio and Ohio Department of Health, and relying on the information they were giving because things changed from day to day. But we also spent a lot of time reassuring our employees, making sure that they had the right protective equipment depending on the situation. It's been a long journey for a lot of us. And we're just happy to see the vaccine here.
Oh, I can imagine. And obviously, it's an emotional decision. How do people know if it's time to have help for their loved ones?
Well, if people ask me that question, just in a social setting or out on the street, I will say, well, if you're asking me that question, you probably already know there might be some issues happening with your parents, your aunts or uncles, whoever you're caring for. So this time of year is when a lot of people will start to notice that their parents perhaps are not doing as well as they thought they might have been. They might notice some disorganization in the house. They might notice that the refrigerator is kind of empty or has food in there that is turning bad. So they're not necessarily organizing their life in the way that they would want them to. So we get those calls from a lot of people who say, I think it's time to get started with some care. So there are signs out there that some help is needed. And the good news is people can stay in their home for the rest of their lives with the right amount of care. So we can be there for them. And the pandemic has shown that we know how to step it up. We know how to handle situations when a crisis arrives. And I really just give a lot of credit to the caregivers out there, professional and family caregivers who've had to just, come on strong and be brave and make sure that the loved ones in their lives who are older aren't feeling the isolation that so many are feeling out there right now. It's a real problem.
Well, with that problem, you have just brought a lot of care and comfort to everyone watching that are in this situation. Lori, thank you so much for joining us today, and have a continued safe and healthy holiday.
You too, Cameron. Thank you so much.
At-Home Care Assistance is changing the way the world ages. And to find out more information, just visit their website. Take that first step at homecareassistancecolumbus.com.